Lesson 14 is ordering numbers on a number line. That is Common Core Standard 6 NS 7A and B. Go ahead and put the title on your page as well as your name and push start when you're ready to begin. So this lesson is just helping us recognize which numbers are bigger than compared to other numbers and which numbers are smaller compared to other numbers, or which have more value and which have less value. So if you can envision a number line, and I've drawn one here so we can see what I'm talking about, you can figure out where things fall. So what you need to keep in mind is that starting from 0, when you go positive, that's like having money in your pocket. $1 is better than 0. $2 is better than $1. $3 is better. $4 is better, and up and up. The further you go up, the greater it is for you. So the further we go this way, the greater the numbers will be. And then, on the other direction, starting at 0, going this way, think of it as owing money to somebody. If I owe somebody $1, well, that's not so great. But if I owe somebody $2, well, that's even worse. And if I owe somebody $3, that's even worse. That has less value. And if I owe somebody $4, that's even worse. I have less value. So the further I go this way, the less value that I have. So let's use that knowledge in context then for this problem. The balance of Sue's bank account. Remember, balance, when we're talking about bank account, means how much is there. So how much is in Sue's bank account? The balance of Sue's bank account is negative $12.55. Negative. That means she owes the bank $12.55. She spent $12.55 more than she had. So she owes the bank. And the balance of John's account is negative $10.45. There's a negative there. It's hard to see. Sorry. Negative $10.45. The question is, who owes more? Well, let's adjust these numbers. For a while, it won't let me erase. Okay, I'll change the numbers then. Cross that out, cross that out. Let's say this is negative 5, negative 10, negative 15. So if we looked at it on a number line, and after a while you won't need to do that, you'll recognize it, and some of you might recognize right away who owes more just because you know money so well. But if we march these on the number line, negative 12 and 55 cents is, you've got negative 5, negative 10, negative 12 would be right here. And then remember that 55 cents is 55 hundredths. So I'd have to break this area into 100 equal pieces and count 55, which is about half of 100. So it's going to fall right in between there. So graphed is going to be right there, negative 1255. And negative 1045 is, change color, 5, 10, and 10, this is 11, so somewhere in between here is 45. You'd break that into 100 pieces, and it would be 45 hundredths, 45 hundredths, which would be almost halfway in between, right about there, negative 1045. So who owes more? Well, on the number line, you would be looking for which of these two numbers is closer to the greater side. So, I'm sorry, let me change that. To find out who owes more, owing money is worse. So we're looking for who has the less value. So we're looking for the number that's closer to the less value. So the person who owes more is Sue. So Sue is the one who owes more money. So we would put Sue here as the answer. If they wanted us to compare using the alligator greater than or less than, you know that symbol that's greater than or less than. Remember the mouth of the alligator goes to the greater one because, great alligators are pigs. They want to eat a lot, so they want the greater amount. Well, neither of these are great amounts. Owing money stinks in general, but If we had to choose between the two, and we were the alligator, let's put the two options out there, owing $12.55 or owing $10.45. If we're the alligator, which one's better for us? Well, if we have to owe something, I'd rather it be the $10.45. That's the one that is closer, of the two, it's the one that's closer to the greater side. So that's how you do those. If you think of it as money, negatives owing money, and positives having money, I think that's the easiest way to know where things go in the order. So one of the things that this standard is trying to help you understand is numbers in relationship to each other in real-world situations, like temperatures, for example. So if we had two thermometers here, these are thermometers, in case you were wondering what those are. Those are my real fancy drawings of a thermometer. If we had thermometers here, which thermometer shows a colder temperature? So that might be something that the standard is trying to get you to understand. Which is colder? I'll label them. Is it thermometer A or thermometer B? Well, thermometer A is sitting at a -5 degrees. We'll say that it's Fahrenheit. Or, yeah, it's Celsius. Let's go Celsius. Okay. And thermometer B is sitting at a -3 degrees. So colder and warmer on the number line is sort of like greater. Greater is warmer. And less value is colder. And on the number line we have -3 and -5. So the alligator is going to the alligator is going to bite with his big mouth the greater of the two, the bigger one. He's going to bite the bigger one, -3. Well, that's not what the question technically is asking, because it's asking the colder one. So which one's closer to the colder one? Well, closer to the alligator's butt. That's the alligator's butt there. If that's the mouth, right? And that's his butt. Which one is colder then? And that would be the -5, because it's the less value. So again, if you think of money, I think that helps a lot. Owing 3 or owing 5. If they're asking for colder, they're asking which one's less or which one is worse. And so the -5 degrees is the colder temperature. I don't know if that explanation was very good, but you're looking for the less value. And then if they said write an inequality that demonstrates that, because they may ask something like that, what they mean by writing the inequality is the alligator. The alligator is the inequality. So you have -5, -5 compared with -3. Write the inequality means put the alligator out there. Well, what's worse, or let's do it this way, what's better, owing 5 or owing 3? Because as an alligator, we want our mouth going to the better of the two. What's better, owe 5 or owe 3? If I have to owe something, I guess I'd rather owe 3 than 5, and there's your inequality. That's how you would write the inequality. So which one was colder? -5 degrees. Write an inequality to compare the two. There it is. You go to the one, the alligator's mouth goes to the one that's best. Okay, and then a final part of this standard is your ability to order numbers least to greatest or greatest to least. And you can use the number line to do that. But again, after a while, your brain will kind of automatically place things in a number line order. Remember, greater is the further you go that way, and less is the further that you go that way. We've got positives and negatives. Since it goes up to +40, how about if I count by, it goes up to +40 here, I would just go ahead and count by tens for my number line so I have room. So we would say 10, +20, positive 30, positive 40. And then over here would be the opposite, negative 10, negative 20, negative 30, negative 40. And then I could just start by placing each of these values on the number line, starting with Anchorage, Alaska, at negative 3 degrees. Well, that's going to be 1, 2, 3 right about here. And I would put Anchorage, or an abbreviation of it, negative 3. Then I have New York, which is at positive 1 degree. So that's going to be right about there. And I'll put NY, 1 degree. Then Juneau at negative 10 degrees, Juneau, Alaska, negative 10. And Sacramento at positive 40, that's Sacramento in California, positive 40 degrees, way over here, Sac. Okay. So once you've put those on the number line, they are in least to greatest order, or greatest to least. If it's greatest to least, you would just order them that way. In this case, it's least to greatest. You just have to pay attention to what order they want it in. So you'd go across and you'd look across. Oh, looky here. Juneau came first at negative 10 degrees. That's the coldest one. Then to Anchorage at negative 3 degrees. Then New York at 1 degree, and then Sacramento at 40 degrees. And now they're ordered least to greatest. So if you lay them out and plot them out on a number line, the number line does the work of ordering numbers for you. Now, one of the areas that kind of freaks some of my kids out when it comes to ordering things on a number line is when they start seeing the fractions and the decimals come into play, and then you get this whole, oh no, I can't do it. But you can. You just take into consideration what we've talked about in one of the previous lessons with those decimals and fractions, and we just plot them. You put them on the number line, graph them on the number line, and it falls into place for you. So you've got least over here, and you've got greatest over here, and all of my numbers are between 0 and not quite 3 yet, 2 and a little bit more. So I'm just going to have a 1, 2, and a 3, and a negative 1, a negative 2, and a negative 3. Actually, I didn't even need any negatives. Those were all positive numbers. I guess I could have put some negatives as an example on there. You know what? And a negative 1.2. There, now we have one in there. Okay. So all you need to do is plot these like we did before. You've got two whole amounts, positive 1, 2, and then broken into 5 pieces between the 2 and the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've used 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is 2 4/5. Then I have 2 whole pieces, positive 1, 2, and 1/10. Remember that decimal spot, the number or this place value right to the right of the decimal is the tenths place, so it's 1/10. So this would be broken into 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pretend those are 10 equal pieces. And they've only crossed across one of those tenths. So one of those tenth pieces. So that is 2.1 right there. Then I have 1 2/5. So that's crossing across 1. And then that's as far as it goes in the whole number department. Then it's split into 5 pieces between the 1 and the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's only crossed over 2 of those. 1, 2. There it is. 1 2/5. And then I've got 1.7. I need a new color. All right, let's go green. Green will work. We've got, I'll go down here, 1 whole. And then remember, this is 7/10. So we need to break it into 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And of those 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because it was 7/10. So this is 1.7. And then way over here, my negative 1.2. So from 0, I'm going negative 1, and then 2/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And of those 10, 2 of them, negative 1.2. So now that I've used the skill I learned in a previous lesson to plot those on the number line, I just plotted those on a number line. That's fine, no problem. And I put them in order, least to greatest. I did that because least is over here, greatest is over here. So now I just say, oh, okay, well, that's the first one I come across. So that is negative 1.2. And then the next one I come across is positive 2. I'm sorry, whoopsie. 1 2/5. And then the next one right there, 1.7. And then the next one right there, 2.1. And then the final one, 2 4/5. So it's done for me. So knowing how to just plot them on a number line does the work for me. So that's how you would handle questions like that. Okay, so there's going to be two different sets of I do, we do, you do's, because there's two different types of questions that I'm looking for you to get a hold of. So this first type is just comparing two things. So here's our first I do. Okay, so the question is, the temperature in Alaska was negative 20 degrees, and in Seattle it was negative 12 degrees. Where was it warmer? So if you envision this on a number line, we've got greater, which would also be warmer in this type of question, and less, which would also be colder in this type of question. And both of these are negative, so I'm going to stick 0 way over here. And I'm going to count by 2's, I think. 2, negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, negative 10, negative 12, negative 14, negative 16, negative 18, negative 20. And then I can just graph these. Negative 20 is Alaska, and negative 12 is Seattle. The question is, which one is warmer? Well, which one is closer to warmer? Seattle at negative 12. So all you would have to do is answer, oh, Seattle was warmer. Negative 12 is warmer than negative 20. Negative 20 is very cold. You could use that analogy of money again. If you have to owe money, which is better for you, owing 12 or owing 20? Which would you rather do? The better amount, in this case we're talking temperature, so the warmer amount is negative 12. Okay then, so let's do the we do. Go ahead and copy this question down. Sam's bank account was negative $18.55, and John's was negative $25.32. Who owes more money? So we could use a number line again. Both of them have negative dollars, so I'm going to stick the 0 way over to this side. And I'm going to count by 5's. Negative 5, negative 10, negative 15, negative 20, negative 25, negative 30. So Sam's bank account is negative $18.55. Oh, and on our number line, having more money, greater's over here, that's more, I don't want to say because it's O's. This is, let's say this way, this is has, this is O's. So on this one, negative 1855 for Sam's bank account, we would go 5, 10, 15, they're in 5, so 16, 17, 18. And then between 18 and 19, it's about halfway in between, 55 out of 100. So your negative 1855 is there. That's Sam. John owes $25.32. So his would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 and a little bit more. Here's 26, and it's 32 out of 100 between 100 pieces between 25 and negative 25 and negative 26. So 32 out of 100 is going to be about right there. So you have negative 25, 32, John. Okay. And you can ask yourself, who owes more money? Who's worse off? Is it John at negative 25.32 or Sam at negative 18.55? So this is worse, and this is better. So of the two, who's worse off? Who owes more money? That would be John. John owes more. So that would be your answer. How would you show that as an inequality? Well, you'd put the two numbers down, negative 25, 32, and negative 18, 55, and you would ask yourself, you being the alligator, which is better for you? Where is your mouth going? It goes to the better one. Which one is better for you? If you have to owe money, is it better to owe $18.55 or to owe $25.32? Which would you rather have? And of course, this is closer to the better anyway, so the number line could have told you, but your brain is saying, oh, well, if I have to owe one or the other, I'd rather have it be the 1855. So your alligator mouth goes to the better of the two. That's how you do the inequalities. So here's how you do. Go ahead and give it a try. Write down the problem. The Tigers had negative 12 yards on their first play, and the Elephants had negative 4 yards on their first play. Who earned the least yardage on the first play, I'm assuming? Go ahead and pause. See if you can come up with that answer, and see if you can come up with the inequality sentence that goes with it. And then push play when you think you've got the answer. Alright, so I would start with a number line just to kind of keep things straight in my brain, but eventually, and some of you may not have needed it at all, and eventually some of you who did use it won't need it later. Both are negative, so I'm going to stick 0 way over here, and I think I'll count by 2's, negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, negative 10, negative 12. This is greater, the further you go that way, which is better. And this is least or less, which is bad. Okay, so the least amount of yardage is what we're looking for. So we're looking for who is closer to the bad side. So the Tigers had negative 12 Tigers, and the Elephants had negative 4 elephants. So once we get it on the number line, we can see who was closer to bad. That would have been the Tigers. So the Tigers had the least yardage. The Elephants had more. They still didn't do well, but they did better than the Tigers. As an inequality, we have negative 12 and we have negative 4. If you are the alligator and your mouth is going to go to the best of the two options, and you think about owing money again, you've got the choice of owing $12 or owing $4. If those are your only two choices, which way is your alligator mouth going? It's going that way. This says that negative 4 is the greater number than negative 12. And it is, because it is closer to that side than that is. Okay, so the other type of questions that you'll see that are in relationship to this standard are ordering the numbers. So we had a game that we played. This is the I do, so just make sure you're paying attention here. You don't have to copy this part down. The points for our game were Sam had 12 points, John had negative 3 points, Lonnie had 1 point, Tom had negative 5 points, and Jason had 4 points. And the question is, who had first place, or the most points, and put them all in order from first through fifth place. So who had first, second, third, fourth, and fifth place. So you could use a number line to help arrange it in your brain. This is greater, and this is less or worse. So we'll put 0 in the middle there. Sam, we'll start with Sam, had positive 12 points. Okay, we'll go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. There is Sam. John had negative 3 points. 2, negative 2, negative 4, which puts negative 3 right there for John. Lonnie had 1 point right there. Tom had -5 points, -5, Tom. And Jason had +4 points. Well, once you plot them on the number line, you can tell who was in what place value. You have them in order now. You just have to look at the question, what order do they want? They want first place. Well, first place is best, right? That's winning. So we've got to find who was way over here, and that was Sam. So Sam got first place. Then was, who was 4? Oh, Jason. I just noticed there's 2 J's. That's why I said uh-oh. Jason had second place. Lonnie had third place. John, gosh, I'm sorry, my writing's terrible. That says John, that says Lonnie, not Lonnie and John. Okay, and then Tom had 5th place, last place. So putting it out on the number line does the work for you. Okay, so here's our we do. Go ahead and copy down the question. The temperature in 5 cities were Albany at -5 degrees, Juneau at -15 degrees, Seattle at 2 degrees, Yuma at 95 degrees, and Sacramento at 72 degrees. And the question being, what were the city's temperatures from coldest to hottest? So we're going to put them in order, coldest to hottest. So we need to arrange our number line to represent what we're looking for. Greater, in this case, is going to be hottest, and less is going to be coldest. And that's how the number line would work. And so then we'll just plot them out, and if we start at cold, and then we work our way across to hot. So I would just start by plotting them out. Albany at -5. With that 95 in there, I'm going to count by tens. 10, that's -10, -20, -30, -40. And -5 is going to be right there. That's Albany. Juneau is at -15. Well, that's 5, 10. 15 would be between 10 and 20. That's Juneau. Seattle is +2. So if we had 10 positive, that'd be 5. 2 is going to fall somewhere in there. Yuma at 95, that was 10, 20, 30, way over here. We'll just put Yuma. And Sacramento at 72. It's way over there too. I should have numbered that differently, but it's not as far as 95, so Sac. So if we're going coldest to hottest, we're going to start here and work our way down to the cities that we've placed on the line now. First one to show up, Juneau. Second one to show up, Albany. Third one to show up, Seattle, a little warmer than the -15. Next one to show up, a lot warmer than 2 degrees, Sacramento. And then finally, the hottest of all, Yuma. And that's how you would order those in the order they wanted, coldest to hottest. Okay, and finally, the last you do. We've got 5 city temperatures. Anchorage, -12 degrees. Redding, 25 degrees. Billings, -6 degrees. Oops, I should have capitalized that. My bad. Here. Billings. Crescent City, 20 degrees. And Boston, -1 degrees. And you're wanting to order them from warmest to coolest this time. So just be careful the order you go. Go ahead and pause the video. Try and order those warmest to coolest. And play when you're ready. Alright, so you have hopefully been able to order them from warmest to coolest. Let's see if you got it correct. So I would go ahead and graph these on a number line. Greater over here, less over here. Greater representing, in this case, warmest, and less representing coolest. Start at 0. Anchorage at -12. I'm going to count by 5s, I think. So we'll go -5, -10, -15, -20, negative 25. Negative 12 is going to be between the 10 and the 15, right about there. Negative 12. Anchorage. Reading is at positive 25. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Right there. Reading. Billings is at negative 6. Well, there's negative 5, and that's negative 10, so it's right about there. Negative 6, Billings. Crescent City at positive 20. And Boston at negative 1. Well, negative 5 is there, so that's Boston. And then some people might have made the mistake and just gone in this order: Anchorage, Billings, Boston, Crescent City, Reading. But what's wrong with that picture if they went in that order? That's going coldest to warmest. If they'd asked coldest to warmest, you'd be right. But they didn't. They asked for warmest to coolest. So you really have to pay attention to what they're asking for, because it can change. Warmest is over here, so I'm going this way. And it would be the warmest one, Reading, at 25 degrees. Then, second warmest, Crescent City. Then, Boston. Billings is the next one. Anchorage is the coldest one. So the number line helped me put that in the order the way they wanted it. Once you have your notes done, if you understand everything read and you're ready for your closure questions, let me know and I'll bring you your closure questions. If you're still unclear, you can rewind a little bit and see if there's anything that can be uncleared with the video, and if that doesn't help, then let me know so that I can explain it further in class. I'll see you soon.